Public education is being systematically dismantled. The BC government has intentionally deprioritized public education. The willful lack of adequate funding is a contravention of the government's own legal mandate in the BC School Act. Public education is in deep crisis. There is a 25% decline of education spending as a percentage of GDP. Education fails to keep pace with inflation. Continued increase in downloaded costs to school boards. There are annual budget shortfalls across 60 school districts. We have the second lowest per pupil spending rate in Canada. The government says, be more efficient and close schools. This masks the underlying flaw of the funding model. 40% of school districts have demanded adequate and predictable funding. They are balancing underfunded budgets at the expense of the educational needs of our children. The All-Party Select Standing Committee on Finance and Government Services for the third year identified K-12 public education as the #1 priority for citizens. For the 6th year, public consultations on the provincial budget have called for more investment in K-12 education. 6 times the Standing Committee has called for more capital funds for seismic upgrades. 5 times they've urged the government to increase support for special needs students. 4 times they've identified shortcomings in the per pupil funding formula. Yet over those same 6 years, total provincial funding for public K-12 education has grown by a shameful 1.5% annually. There is no area of public education in which further cuts can be justified. The government can choose to respect the recommendations of its citizens. The government can provide school boards with adequate funds and flexibility to make fiscally prudent decisions in the best interests of students. BC deserves a stronger, healthier future, and its foundation is the education of all of our children. Our children deserve a better public education. Parents no longer accept the status quo. Parents and teachers no longer accept trade-offs for our 550,000 students. Citizens demand adequate, predictable, and sustainable funding to meet the needs of all children. We stand united in advocacy, demanding change. Our public system is a holder of democratic values that shape our entire society, and we as a society will fight to retain it. Public education must be made a priority and must be adequately funded. Public education is an election issue. We are the Parent Advocacy Network, a nonpartisan grassroots collective of parents and community members. We believe that all children have a right to high-quality public education, accessible in their own neighborhoods, in educationally appropriate and seismically safe buildings.